Kim Free is the owner and CEO of Small Town Girl Promotions, a social media and online marketing agency who's focused on helping small businesses. With a degree in psychology and years of elementary school teaching, Kim comes to you filled with passion for figuring out what makes people click that like button. She loves to think about what makes people react the way they do online and loves sharing her expertise with others. Her business, Small Town Girl Promotions, was founded 2.5 years ago and has grown exponentially since then with social media marketing, networking, and word of mouth. Above all else, Kim believes in the passion, hard work, and dedication of the small business owner. She loves to take social media off your to-do list so that you can be freed up to spend more time creating and delving into the things you're truly passionate about.
Welcome to Fox Talks Business Podcast with your host, Tanya Fox. Tanya has been an entrepreneur for over 20 years, owning retail, service, and franchise. She holds no punches and is never afraid to talk about the nitty-gritty. Together, you'll explore the good, the bad, and the motivational of business life, turning obstacles into opportunities and failures into successes. So grab your favorite drink and let's have some fun. Here's your host, speaker, crafter, and collaborator, Tanya Fox.
Just before we get started with this episode, I wanted to give a quick heartfelt thank you to all of those who were able to make it onto my Facebook and Instagram Live. So every Tuesday in May and June at 9:30 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, I'm going to be going live and talking to you about the beauty and wealth of collaboration. I'm going to give you some tips and tricks and some examples of collaborations that you can use in your business and answering your questions. My 13-year-old son reviewed the Facebook Live and gave me 3 stars, saying, "You know what, Mom? It wasn't too bad." When I asked him why I only got 3 stars, he looked at me and said, "Well, we don't need it going to your head, do we? You can't get a better review than that. Thank you, Owen." So don't forget to send me your questions and I'll do my best to answer them all on the next live. And speaking of social media, let's dive into this episode with Kim Free. So thank you so much for joining me on the show today, Kim. I'm so excited to have you.
You betcha, Tanya. I'm excited too.
So tell everybody a little bit more about your story of how you kind of got where you started and how you got to where you are right now.
Yeah, you bet. I have been a lifelong learner my whole life, and I've been surrounded by entrepreneurs and teachers and these kind of people. And I've always had an interest in a lot of things. Those type of people that just, I love doing this. I love art. I love music. I love math. I love people. I love learning about anything. And so growing up, it was really hard for me to choose a career. And I heard growing up, you're going to change your career 5-10 times by the time you retire. And that's totally true for me. And so I took psychology in school because I've been interested in how people think and how they react. And then it's hard to find a psychology job with just a bachelor's degree. So I went back and got my teaching degree. And teaching is fun too, but it didn't work out for me,
right,
for a multitude of reasons. And so now here I am in social media. Who would have thought growing up that I would get paid to make posts on Facebook and Instagram? It's super weird. Like, even now I'm like, is this real? So I happened into it and I love doing it. And it's neat because it's combining all of my things. It's psychology, it's teaching because I teach my contractors and my employees. And I get to learn about all these awesome, passionate entrepreneurs that I'm working with. So it kind of ticks all the boxes for me.
right.
But I feel like I just happened into it.
So tell us a little bit about Small Town Girl Promotions. Like, what is it that you do, and how did you come up with your business name?
So we create posts for small businesses on Facebook and Instagram primarily. So we create the images. I have some graphic designers and such that work for me, and we create the words, and we try to create that highly engaging content that makes people stop their scroll and pay attention. And that's hard to do because There's a lot of posts out there. So that's primarily what we do. And how did I come up with my Small Town Girl Promotions name? You know, growing up in a small town in rural Alberta, I appreciate that lifestyle, and I appreciate the hardworking, passionate entrepreneurs in the mom and pop shops, you know, the restaurant owner that spends 12 hours a day working in their restaurant that isn't a franchise, but it has their name on the door. And so I wanted a business name that reflected that, that sounded friendly and small town focused, and something that small business owners could feel connected to. And I think that's how it came about. I don't know, Small Town Girl has a friendly ring to it. So started there. Yeah.
I love that. So social media is such like it's such a thing that changes almost daily. And one of the biggest thing is trying to get organic reach, because we hear that phrase so often. And a lot of times people are just like, I don't know what that means. Does that mean there's no pesticides on it? I don't like, 'cause the word organic is just thrown around so much, right? I think my post is non-GMO. I don't know.
Right? I think it's good.
So tell us a little bit about what organic reach truly is, because I think there's a lot of people that just kind of do the smile and nod and go, I know what that is. And what you're finding is the decline, like what the decline is, and how, and maybe some tips on how people can handle that.
You betcha. So organic reach just is a fancy word for unpaid reach. So anytime you put an ad budget behind your posts, then it's not organic anymore. So organic just means naturally reaching. So that's its connection with the natural piece of it, I guess. So yeah, and organic reach has been declining consistently over the past 5 years, especially. Hootsuite put out a study late last year that said across the board, like for all industries on Facebook, organic reach is about 4.6%, which means that translates to, if you had a Facebook following of 100 people, your average post would reach only 4.6 of those 100 people organically. So that's really difficult for business owners, right? You have this following and you want everybody to see your posts, and only 4.6 of them on average are seeing that. So what do you do about that? You know what the algorithm prefers. So the word algorithm just means the math and science behind Facebook and Instagram, and how the algorithm decides which posts are in what order on your newsfeed when you're scrolling. So know what the algorithm prefers and use that to your advantage. So most people have heard probably that video is king, and it's totally true. The algorithm, especially Facebook, prefers video. So if you're able to post some video directly to your Facebook page, and also Instagram loves video, then do that. That's a great tip. Also, photos work really well. Things that don't work very well in terms of the algorithm are links to outside places. So if you're posting a link to your website from Facebook, because Instagram, you can't do that so much in the post. So posting a link to Fox Talks Business, for example, Facebook isn't going to want people to click on that link, because as soon as they leave Facebook, Facebook isn't making any more money, right? Facebook is a huge money-making machine. So try to keep the links off of your posts, or do them seldomly instead of every time, is a great tip. And of course, create engaging content. So choose those photos and those videos that cause people an emotional reaction. We are emotional beings, and there's a human on the other side that is scrolling your newsfeed, exhausted at 7 p.m. after working a full day, and you need to work really hard to connect with them emotionally so they stop their scroll and they pay attention. So a photo, there's a reason that selfies are so popular, because we are humans, and when we see somebody's eyes and their smile, that causes us some feelings inside. So we're more likely to push the like button than if we see a picture of a barn or what have you, right?
Yeah. And one of the things that I've heard the most is that people, they know that video is where it's at, and they want to do a live, but they're terrified
Yeah.
because they don't like standing in front of a camera. And I know I get asked that a lot. Like, people are like, how do you do it? And I'm like, I just don't care. And that's not the proper answer to give you. But for those, because I don't, it's just who I am, and either you like me or you don't. But for those people because I think that's a common thing, they think, it just has to be perfect and I don't want to do live. What is your answer for that to them? Besides, I just don't care and I do it anyway.
Yeah. Oh man, lots of people struggle with this. You're absolutely right. I have a few answers, I think. So first of all, practice. Practice makes perfect, although I agree, it does not have to be perfect. But practice certainly helps you to feel better about it. So instead of jumping to, okay, I'm going to do my first live, oh, here we go, record it ahead of time. And if it takes you 10 tries to get a video that you feel comfortable with posting to your platform, then fine. Practice helps you get over those nerves, absolutely, and you'll get more comfortable as you go. Second tip, I suppose, is to write a little summary before you start. So write yourself some guidelines or a little bit of a script, but don't write the whole thing out and read from your script. But
Right.
jot
Just
some notes
point
down,
form.
right? Yeah, totally, point form. Because that will help keep you on track and stop you from getting rambly. What else? People, just keep in mind that people love connecting with people and people love the authentic you. So if you stumble over your words or you get a little bit nervous, be yourself. Say, oh, sorry, I'm a bit nervous if you get nervous. And it's okay. You're not afraid to talk to people in real life. Like when you're talking to them, it's the same thing. Just pretend that you're talking to them. Look into the camera and picture you're one person that you're talking to.
And I think that's true, because I think even when I think of like my YouTube channel for crafting, the videos that get liked are the ones that I've made mistakes in. Like I remember doing a video once and I forgot to plug in the glue gun, which I needed at that particular time. But when it came and I realized it was unplugged, I was like, I had just recorded 10 minutes previous of the video and I was like, I'm not redoing this. So I just went with it. And people loved it. And I was like, oh, well, this is a lot better than editing stuff out. And I think you're right. I think just being authentic and who you are, because it's tiring to try to morph yourself, I think, into being what you think everyone else wants. And that changes with each person.
Mm-hmm. People are getting sick and tired of the overly edited, overly cropped, too much perfection posts on Instagram, where it's this ideal world. People want to see the messy kitchens and the piles of laundry that aren't done. People want to see authenticity. So be yourself.
Yeah.
It's all good.
And I think it's true. I think it's that relatable piece that people just want to feel like you have the same issues they do. Like you said, piles of laundry and dishes in the kitchen and,
I should show you behind my banner. Like behind my banner, my pretty banner that's behind me is a crazy messy bookshelf that, oh my goodness, I really need to get at, but I don't, right? So don't be afraid to share your messy bookshelf, even though I'm not a great example of that right now.
But that's okay. We know you admitted that it's back there. That's
totally.
the key.
That's me being authentic right there.
Yeah. So, what is one of the biggest obstacles that you've had in business, and how did you overcome that?
I struggle with, and this has been a struggle my whole life, is being a people pleaser. And people pleasing and entrepreneurship do not get along well. You know what I mean? We have to be brave as entrepreneurs. We have to jump in with both feet and be not afraid to hurt other people's feelings or all this stuff. And I struggle with people pleasing.
So what are some of the strategies that you've used that have helped you with that? Because I think a lot of people do struggle with that, especially those starting out, because we take everybody, right? I remember when I first started, I took anybody who walked through the door who could pay me, I took them. And it took me a long time to go, no. It took me a long time to retrain those clients that I gave bad habits to, like access to me 24 hours a day, which
Yeah.
nobody has anymore. But
Yeah.
so what are some of the strategies that you're using to help you overcome being that people pleaser?
hmm The one thing I'm struggling with currently, to be honest, is making sure my time is focused on where my priorities are. So I will be working on a business building task, that I really want to get done. So for example, I'm trying to build an online course, and I've been trying to build an online course for a little while, and someone will send an email or a message, and it seems like it's really important. So a client will say, hey, I just want to brainstorm about an idea for our next campaign, and I'll stop what I'm doing and I'll go and start brainstorming with this client, which is great for them, but it's not so great for me, because getting back focused to where I was, I've heard that can take up to 15 minutes. When you're focused in on a project and you're in it, that's good. But if you get distracted or even get up to use the washroom or what have you, research says it takes 15 minutes to get back into that zone again. So I'm not only interrupting my time, and my time is valuable, but I'm interrupting my focus.
Yeah.
And so you asked about the strategies. I'm still working on that one. So one of the strategies that I'm trying this week is to turn my phone, not it's always on vibrate, otherwise it would drive me crazy, but to turn it on vibrate and turn it upside down so it's not flashing at me, and put it at the far side of my desk, and just remind myself when I hear it buzzing that no, this is my time. This is what I have scheduled right now. That can wait.
Yeah. I go into airplane mode a lot
Yeah, I
because
should try that.
I was like you, I would put it on vibrate, but I can hear my phone
From
vibrate
across the house.
3 floors up.
Yeah, me
And I know
too.
it's my phone, like, and it's sickening that I have that connection to it, but I think we do, like, you're like, I hear that buzz. It's like the dog that hears something, you're like, what? It needs me. I have to
Yeah,
go to it.
right? Yeah, yeah.
And I think like, thank you so much for sharing that, because I think that a lot of people, get under the impression that it's only them. They're the
Mhm,
only ones that struggle with it. And I think time management is a hard thing, because not one tip works for everybody. And,
exactly.
and you have to find what works for you. Like, I used to try to fit myself into 9 to 5 hours, and my brain just didn't work like that. So
Mhm.
for me, once I gave up feeling that these were the work hours I needed to have, I actually sat down and wrote when I felt I was accomplishing the most. And then during those times, like for me, it's usually between 2 and 3 o'clock is like my dead time. So
Yeah,
that's where I do like my mindless activities. Like, I'll pay my bills, or
yeah.
I'll read something that I wanted to read, because I don't get anything done. Like,
Mhm.
it's like I turn into like a kitten or something. I'm like, oh, look, a shiny ball. Like, it's
Squirrel.
horrible.
Yeah.
So, with social media changing all of that, changing so often, continuing education and just keeping yourself up to date is probably something that you just kind of naturally do. But I think a lot of people, especially entrepreneurs, get stuck into this. They learn it, and then they learn and they leave. So they
Mhm.
learn something and then they leave it. My dad was always a famous one for saying, do you have 1 year experience 20 times, or do you have 20 years of experience? So how do you keep yourself up, and how important do you think continuing education for your industry is important? Like, how does that help you in your business?
Oh man, it's so important. Like you said, the algorithms and all that are changing monthly. So you're right. I have just incorporated it into the things that I do naturally. So when you ask, I'm like, oh, what do I do? Oh man, she's asking me a tough question, because I don't think about it. It's second nature. So one thing that I do for sure is I follow later.com, and I follow their blog posts, and I receive their email updates. So I find, like, there's a million out there that have information and whatnot about the changes in social media, but I find, I don't know if it's the aesthetics, like Later.com has pretty pictures and I like their font. So that helps. It helps keep me engaged when I'm reading kind of, boring and repetitive stuff a little bit. But I do read those blogs religiously, and that certainly helps.
I think that's a good tip though, because I think so often we sign up for so many things, and I know I do this myself, and then I just spend, like, I look in my inbox and I go delete, 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 delete.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why am I signed up for all this stuff that I just delete every week?
Mm-hmm. But if you can find one that you find is good quality and it resonates you, whatever way that is, if it's their voice or, if they're a little bit funny and you need that to keep you interested, just find one that works for you and keep it coming into your inbox and make it a habit to actually open that one. I am absolutely famous at signing up for these newsletters, and then they send too many and you just you get overwhelmed and you delete them all, and then eventually you unsubscribe, right?
Yeah.
So yeah.
And the other thing that I wanted to ask you about, because I hear this a lot from my listeners and just people when I'm out talking, is they're scared of using somebody for social media because they're worried that it's such a big thing for being authentic, which we talked about before, but they worry about like hiring somebody, then it's not going to sound like me. And, what if they put something out I don't like? And so can you describe us a little bit how working with you is? Because I think that's something that a lot of people worry about is it going to still sound like me? So if somebody was coming to work with you, what can you just kind of, and I know this is probably a lot longer than what we have time for, but just a brief synopsis of how it works to have a social media coach.
Mm-hmm. So we specialize in collaborative social media management. And I think that part is key because every business and every business personality is different. And so we spend the first month, well, to back up a little bit, before we get started with their social media, we have a 2-hour meeting with them and talk about their branding and their target audience and all of these things. And we put together a posting plan for them. And we do the research, right? We go to their website if they have one. We research their competition, all of those things. So it is a little bit of an art and a science in that we have to get into their heads. And I sometimes tease and say that I have multiple personality disorder because it really is speaking from their voice and finding that voice. So it's a lot of research, it's a lot of communication, and it's a little bit of an art, right? I was meeting with a client yesterday and he said to me, it's amazing, the contractor that you have working for me, sometimes I feel like she gets into my head and she comes up with these quotes that I love, and I hadn't even discovered those quotes before, but now they're on my social media, and I feel like if I would have seen that quote, I would have posted that quote. How does she do that? Right? So it's work and communication and a little bit of art. And sometimes a social media manager doesn't fit with a certain client. And so then you have to shuffle them around a little bit because we are human and we have our certain personalities, and not everybody works well together.
And I think that's true. I think finding that person that, like you said, can have, you can feel like they have your voice. Because I think that's the biggest thing we want. It's not something that everybody loves to do. A lot of people find it a challenge to, to come up with stuff, but they're worried about it not sounding like them or losing themselves in it.
It's a legitimate worry, and it's something that we are constantly working on and improving for sure.
So if people are interested in finding out more about your company and what you do, what's the best way for them to find you?
There's so many ways. What's the best way?
Or you can list them all. It doesn't matter.
Right. So on Facebook, I do a Tip Tuesday, which is super fun. So every Tuesday I give a tip about social media, and I typically do a short post and then a video post. So that's a fun way to get to know me better and learn a little bit while you're there. Of course, my website has information about our packages and whatnot. So, sorry, back up. On Facebook, it's Small Town Girl Promotions, so that's easily searchable. And on the website, it's www.smalltowngirlpromotions.com. I'm also on Instagram, STG_promotions. It's a bit awkward because my business name is too long for
It's too long.
Instagram. Darn, should have thought that through. And then I'm trying to get a little bit more present on LinkedIn currently, so you can find me Kim Free on LinkedIn. Yep.
So besides obviously all of this that you're doing and with the business and everything, you're also involved in a couple of networking groups, which I think is really important for business, especially for entrepreneurs, is getting out there. So tell us a little bit about the organization you're involved in, and because you're more heavily involved with them now. So tell us a little bit about it and then what you're doing with them.
Totally. So I love, love, love WOW Women in Business. It is both an online networking organization, and they have in-person luncheons and evening events throughout Alberta, but they're looking to expand as well. So I coordinate the networking luncheons in Old Sundre and Didsbury, Alberta, which is a lot of fun. It's helped me to grow as a professional and as a person as well, because there's a lot to coordinating events and making sure everybody's happy and finding a guest speaker. Our guest speakers are a lot of fun, and I get a lot of value out of that too. It's a great opportunity to learn and to network and to meet fellow women in business, so we're not feeling so alone in the entrepreneur world, right? That was a bit rambly, but basically the luncheons in person are fantastic. There's online opportunities as well, and you can find more at wowbiztribe.com.
That's awesome. And how has networking been, like, obviously social media, that's pretty much what it's all about, but kind of trying as much as you can to take social media out of it. How important do you think networking is for businesses? Because a lot of people will say, I'm just a mom and pop, like, because you deal with most of those clients, I am the business. I'm frontline, I'm backline, I'm everything in the business. I don't have time to network. What is your response to that one? Because that's a common one we hear.
Absolutely. I think it depends on both the person and the industry that they're in. So for me, as a business to business, I get a lot of value and I get a lot of clients from networking with other business owners, because that's my target audience.
Right.
But if you're not business to business, networking with other business owners can have wonderful effects as well. So just the feeling that you're not alone in entrepreneurship, because it can be a lonely world when you're sitting in your home office or you're stuck in your restaurant all day long or whatever it is. So knowing that other people are having similar struggles, as you know, is so valuable. But also learning, like, we aren't all born knowing business stuff, right? Bookkeeping and all the things that come along with business. And so networking can certainly bring some value that way. The education piece about how to run a business and what works and what doesn't work, and just kind of brainstorming with others. What have you tried in terms of, bookkeeping services? Do you know somebody? Because I'm not getting along with my bookkeeper right now, or whatever that might be. I mean, I could go on forever. Networking in person has expanded my world drastically. Loving it. And I've even found friends. So just knowing that when you have a bad day or you're having a successful day, you can reach out to those friends and celebrate or rant or whatever you need to do.
And I think that's important, because I think a lot of entrepreneurs too don't necessarily all have family that understand, right? They have a lot of people who are sort of in the corporate world, and just having those other people that you can talk to that get it, that they understand the struggles that you're going through, exactly. I think is really beneficial.
Yeah.
So and I know you probably have so many, but if you could leave our listeners with one tip for going forward this week in their social media, what's one tip that you would like to see them do? Or two?
Right, or 5, or 100. One tip. Think about the fact that social media, the purpose of social media, right? Social media was not created as an advertising platform. Social media, Facebook and Instagram especially, are created for people to connect with one another as human beings. So if you think about Mark Zuckerberg and Facebook and how it was first created, it was created for person-to-person interaction. And so a lot of us still use those platforms to connect with our friends and family. And so when they're seeing an ad come across their newsfeed as they're scrolling, most people get angry. So just think about how the posts that you're creating are coming across to that tired mom laying on the couch at the end of a long day, just like scrolling through Facebook, trying to find their friends and family or wanting an escape from their life. Think about it from the user's end.
Yeah, I think that's a great tip. And I think we tend to do that, right? We tend to think sell, 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 or we tend not to think it's okay to let people in to the other stuff, like what's behind the banner or what's behind the binder, because there's a big old mess behind there. There's a reason my camera only shows so much, right?
That's right.
So if anybody is watching on, because we do these on YouTube, as Kim was saying, like there is a huge stack of mess on my desk that conveniently gets slid out of the way. Now, I do it because there's personal information that I don't want to have out of clients, but it is not all clean and sunshine over here. It's organized chaos.
That's right. Yeah, don't be afraid to share a little piece of yourself, whether it's your messy life or the fact that you love your dark coffee with rich creamer, or, people want to know a little bit about you in order to make a connection so that they can trust you, so that they can eventually make a purchase from you. My friend and the founder of Wow Women in Business, Michelle Andrushak, always says you have to know, like, and trust somebody before you do business with them. And how can you trust somebody if you don't know anything about them? So don't be afraid to share a little piece of yourself.
That's so true. So there you go. I think that is a great tip for everybody, is that they should do a post this week that tells something about you, not your business, but you as a person.
I would love that.
I'm going to take that challenge as well. I'll have to think of something, but maybe I'll actually take a picture of what my office looks like in the midst of work, because that's a big one.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming on the show today, Kim. I learned so much from you, and we'll make sure that we link to all of the areas that people can find you on our blog post, and as well in the video, so that they can easily find you and be able to get in contact with you. And do you have anything that's coming up? You offered, you had a special promotion for all of our listeners as well. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, you bet. I would love to offer the Foxy listeners $50 off if they choose to engage us to create their social media for them on a monthly package kind of thing. So $50 off your first month for a monthly package. Or we also build websites. We build them affordably and effectively for basic websites for small business owners. So if you're interested in that, I'd offer $50 off the cost of a website as well.
Oh, that's great. And I think that's a big one, because I think a lot of people are looking for more ways that they can engage on their website. So is this something like you build the website and then they get to take it and they can continuously update it themselves?
Oh yeah, we even teach them how to update their own website. We want it to be user-friendly. We know how busy and money-strapped small business owners can be, so we try to make it as friendly for them as possible.
Yeah, and that's something that can get quite costly.
Yeah, right? You hire a web designer to build your website and you pay a lot of money, and then, oh man, I forgot to add this, or there's a monthly promotion that you want to throw up on there, and it can get out of control.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Well, I look forward to hearing from you again and having you back on the show. And thank you again so much for coming on.
Yeah, thank you, Tanya. It was fun.
So if you're interested in connecting more with Kim or Small Town Girl Promotions, just head over to our website at foxtalksbusiness.ca, click on blogs at the top of the page, and you'll be able to see all of the platforms with quick links that you can connect with her. If you're also interested in learning more from her, she is going to be at the Women in Business and Leadership Gathering, which is going to be held online on Tuesday, May the 26th from 11:45 to 1:45 Mountain Standard Time. We're going to have the link as well to the Eventbrite page. Tickets are only $12. And this is an event that you're going to be able to meet some amazing women who are leaders, business owners, and professionals. You're going to be able to not only share your successes, but showcase your business and give some ideas and tips to help others. This event is organized to help you feel empowered and uplifted. And Kim is actually the spotlight speaker for this event. So it's going to be a great day, and I hope to see you guys all there. So no matter what you're doing, whether you're trying to figure out a new way to connect with people on social media, or you're just trying to get your name known out there and get people to follow you, make sure that at least one of your posts, well, let's be honest. Let's make sure that at least the majority of your posts, you're having fun. Because if you're not having fun, why are you doing it?